topic of constructors and how are constructors useful in Java and what are the types of constructors. Firstly, constructors were used to initialize the instance variables in a class, right? Instance variables mean that so this particular instance variable can only be accessed by using a object, right? It is created when an instance of a class is created using the operator. What kind of operator do we need to use? The operator we need to use for uh, creating an instance of a class is new operator. So the third point is that, and constructors can also accept arguments like methods, and it can be overloaded. So we can overload the constructor, and this concept is also known as constructor overloading. So now I'm going to explain the syntax for constructor. Here, the constructor syntax is as follows: access modifier name and class name and the parameters that we need to include. So this is the syntax of constructor, creating a constructor. Now, there were two types of constructors which we can use. The two types of constructors were default constructor and parameterized constructor. Default constructor, what does this mean? So default constructor, it means that there were no arguments included in the constructor. When it comes to parameterized constructor or argument constructor, in the name itself, we can see there were parameters and arguments. So arguments and parameters are included in the parameterized constructor. So it is a mandatory thing to include parameters or arguments in this constructor. So now we can check an example. Firstly, how to start with default constructor. Now I'm going to start how default constructor is made in a Java program. Package, right? I've created my package name, and here I can name my class as default constructor. Right. Now I'm initializing an instance variable. This particular instance variable is initialized just to show us how an object or how a constructor uses this instance variable to get some desired output. So here I'm creating an string B. Now I'm going to include this public static void main method. Right. So I'm going to create an object, and parallelly I need to call the constructor, right? So what's the syntax for creating an object? We need to class name, and I'll name my object as OB or OBJ equal to, now I'm using this particular new keyword. This new keyword plays a key role in creating an object, instantiation of an object, and declaration of an object too. And how does we use this object? And everything depends on this. The default constructor. Here, this is the particular thing. This is the constructor of this particular program. So how can we know whether it is a constructor or not? So this particular thing, we are closing it with these braces. So it's kind of a method, right? So this method is to be included here. So once this particular constructor is created, we need to run this constructor, right? So we don't need to pass any values here. So this is the default constructor. So I'm going to initialize the values of A and B by using this object obj dot A equal to 25 and obj dot B equal to, since it is a string, we can name this as Java, right? Now I'm going to print this system dot out dot println obj dot A plus obj dot B, right? So here I have used the constructor and I have explained you what does this default constructor mean. So here there were no arguments that need to be passed. It was completely as nothing. There's no arguments or no parameters in this constructor. This is known as default constructor, right? And here there were no parameters included. So once this default constructor starts to run, there's nothing to run, and it comes to this statement system.out.println. So this particular thing executes. So what does obj.a mean? 25 and obj.b mean and Java. So comma obj.b. So here, right, obj.b. Now there's nothing to return here, right? Since it's a void keyword, void return type, I don't need to return any of the thing. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to run this program. I got 25 in Java. So what does 25 mean? Obj.a. It's mean 25 and obj.b. So just to clear our confusion, I'm creating some space here plus obj.b, right? 25 and Java. So in case if I created some new object like the same thing, I've created obj, so I'll create some new object here, namely obj1. So I'll name this obj.a1 equal to 20, and this is named as Python. Now I'm going to execute. Sorry, obj1.a equal to obj1. Yeah. So here we need to copy this and here 1, 1, right? I'm going to save this. Let's see our expected output. 20 and Python. Here I have created two objects and same constructor. Here the constructor is called. So this is called default constructor. This is how default constructor plays a key role in Java. So here this constructor is created. And for creating a constructor, the main thing which we need to use is this key word is new keyword. So it is created when an instance of a class is created using the new operator. So constructor is created when an instance of a class is created using the new operator. Here, new operator is used, and this is known as default constructor. Thank you.